Now let's talk about working with points. We've been working with our edge tool here and it's still selected from the previous video, and then we're going to switch now to our live selection tool and we're going to go to our point tool. Okay, you see now we have all the points on the model are dark grayed out to know where they're represented. So again, we can go in and you see our tool set down here. We still have the same, but you really can't bevel a point, you can't extrude a point, but what you can do is you can go in, hold down my shift key, and grab that point, and now I can go in and extrude the points in the area, and you see now it's creating lines. Okay, it's not really creating a face at all because this point was actually welded in. Okay, so you can do that once in a great while to work in, but the main thing is adding more points. So you can create more points here on the surface, and I'm gonna rotate this model around here, and I'm going to add in some points here. And you see now I'm just adding in points to add in more detail. But one thing you have to be careful is if you add in points on one side, you should, by common modeling knowledge, add same amount of points on the other side to add in more detail. And I can go in and move these points in, slide them across. Okay. And I'm moving these points back and forth just to add in more detail here. We can go in now with the magnet tool and move over with the points instead of the brush tool. You see the brush tool, you can just work by selecting points, and we pull out. Let me go to my live selection and deselect. Okay. And then we go back to my brush tool. Okay, you see we're grabbing things by points, but let's say with the magnet tool now. And the magnet tool works with points, as we said when we were talking about the polygon tools. You see we can grab one point and kind of stretch it out to add in more detail, but you know how now we have more precise control to round this out. I can grab that one we scaled in, kind of round it out a little bit more, bring this one back in. So you see, without going and selecting a number of edges, we can just use this magnet tool to round things out a little bit more detail. And again, we can have different types of modes to work with. I'm going to work with the dome. Okay, move this out here. Okay. And you see now it's controlling the surface fidelity of the model, where areas are getting thicker, they're getting more skinnier, and it's kind of really warping the model. But you see you have so much precise detail with the points mode than you do with the edge or the polygon mode using the magnet tool. Now one thing you can do is change down the strength. You can change the radius for this. So right now this is the radius at 100 centimeters. Let's bring it down. You see now it's a little bit smaller, and it's kind of hard to show because I'm using the mouse to drag over. See now it's 24, so it's a little bit more condensed area to work with, a little bit more focused. Okay. Now you see this curve down here. You see now it's a linear kind of a strength working, but I can move these curves, change things around for X and Y. So if I wanted to maneuver these a little bit, I can do that by going into a more constant or a spline base. So you see now with the spline base we can control how we want this to work. So now I'm making more of an organic kind of a magnet selection here. Okay, and it's going in and out and kind of around kind of an area. It's working. So again, we have the same tools are selected, but you notice now that there are different functions for these tools, meaning that you can work back and forth between edges and polygons as well as points. Which one is the best to work in? The answer is all three, because you need to work with all three to get more control over your 3D surface, to add in more detail. Okay. But again, we can go in and I want to show you now what subdivision looks like with more points. And I'm going to add in another subdivision of 2. You see now there's a great condensity of points onto the model here than it was with the first subdivision. So we can switch back to edges, see how many edges are now. We switch back to polygon faces and see how those are. So pretty much we'll be working back and forth between these three tools to get a nice uniform model for a final model design. Okay. So this was a series going into the different types of surface tools, and now we're going to go and start working on some examples how to work with these tools all together to create a model.